Medfit Rehab founder Joanne James is a medical exercise specialist. Medfit Rehab, restoring strength and movement, making a difference in people's lives. 647-259-5481. MedfitRehab.com. If you've been diagnosed with a chronic ailment, diabetes, osteoporosis, cardiovascular cancer, Joanne James, medical exercise specialist for over 25 years, is your answer. Joanne and her hands-on team of professionals will design a customized medically based exercise program for you. Medfit Rehab provides the best in post-rehab functional conditioning programs. Medfit Rehab, 647-259-5841, medfitrehab.com. Okay, before we say good morning to Michelle Gillis, because she's sitting in for Joanne, today is Joanne's mother's funeral. We are very, very saddened. We offer our prayers and hopes to her and her family, and Michelle will fill in, and hopefully Joanne will return next week. Thank you, Michelle. How are you?
Oh, thank you, Zelda. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay. Thanks very much. That's a lie. I'm not okay. I'm always fighting some cause here or there, but I'm fine. Okay, just
okay,
like you. All right.
The default, right?
Right. Okay. So how come people always think that they are working out really hard, but in fact, it's nothing? Oh my God, I'm working up a sweat. I'm really doing something. I better lie down, or I better go for a drink or something. How do we evaluate how hard we're working out for what we need to do?
Okay. Well, there are some ways to evaluate how hard we're working, but I want to point your attention to, I found a really interesting study that was actually done here in Canada, very close to home, at York University last year. And what they did was they had people walk or jog on a treadmill at a speed that they felt corresponded to the intensity level. So, for example, light, moderate, or vigorous. Across the board, nobody had a problem identifying with what light might be. They had no problem there. But when it came to the moderate and vigorous activity or level, they couldn't accurately sort of mimic or do what was required. And I think, when you're doing the exercise itself, I mean, we are given certain tools, like there's measuring your heart rate, talk test, just an overall sense of how you're doing. But an important thing about this study was, and I also think it's pertinent to the rest of us, is these were sedentary people that were recruited. And if you're sedentary, meaning theoretically you're going from zero to whatever, you have no gauge. You have no way to really think about, or perhaps it's just too overwhelming to think about how hard you'd have to work. And I think for most people, we already know, like we see that all the time. People that come to us at Medfit, they'll say, well, I've been working out for X amount of time. And when we ask them what level at which they work, they say, well, it's usually moderate to vigorous. But, further questioning points to the fact that it's usually not. And I think everyone wants to do what they feel is good for them, and they want to do their best. But I think truly, that's why there's a very big distinction between a recreational exerciser and, say, an athlete. Most people have no experience really, truly pushing themselves because they don't have the guidance, they don't have the experience, so they sort of take it down a notch, right? Or you have other people that simply don't want to work that hard. They don't want to sweat. They don't want to look like they're struggling, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, again, that comes down to when you need instruction and help. You can help people understand literally what it feels like, develop the kinesthetic awareness. Okay, this is what light feels like, okay? And then you move it up a notch or two and three, and you have to understand what it means, and you have to understand how to calibrate your body to progressively deal with higher intensity.
Okay, but that is really the key to everything. We don't know. We don't know what we can or should do. An expert like yourself and Joanne could tell us, that you're not even working up a sweat, or you're working over exactly. Than you should. So that's the whole idea. And that's why people, God forbid, drop dead or have a heart attack or something, because they don't have a limit. They don't have any instruction.
Well, that's true. Exactly. They have nothing to compare themselves to. If you've never been active before, or worse yet, that's the pattern. You think you've been active all along, and you really, people say, well, we haven't I've been working out for years or exercising, I'm not getting any results. Well, usually that's because you've been doing the same thing, and the same thing is not necessarily what's best for you. So you're absolutely right. It's the guidance. We want to make people feel good and proud that they're actually trying to do something. There's a difference between someone who just says, oh, yeah, I exercise, and really all they do is walk around the block or nothing really vigorous. If someone is really, truly trying, and they are, it is an effort for them. Their breathing is labored. They are sweating. That's a different scenario. That's where you have to let people know, look, there's a bit of a hurdle to get past here. If your body's not used to it, we will help you gradually, safely, progressively move. But this is what you have to do. This is what's going to get your heart in a better condition. Because remember, all of these public health and Canada's health guidelines and global health exercise guidelines talk about the benefit of moderate to vigorous activity. Most people, if you ask them, will say that they do some moderate activity, but they don't. So a lot of the information that we're getting is skewed or incorrect because people self-report what they know. And
all right,
unfortunately, they don't.
Michelle, the point is that if you don't get the proper instruction, you don't know what route to take. We're totally out of time, but we'll continue on this conversation tomorrow. Lots more coming up, and stay tuned for Michelle Gillis, sitting in for Joanne James. Okay, talk to you tomorrow.
You bet. Thanks,
Bye.
Zelda.
Bye.
Bye.
Joanne James, founder and medical exercise specialist of Medfit Rehab, will improve your overall health through medical exercise. Contact Joanne James, 647-259-5481, medfitrehab.com.